The Monster in the Attic, page 102, BOS, company file. The company. A group that rivals the agency, staffed by mostly malicious creatures and the occasional human that has long proven that their humanity is only skin deep. Similar to the agency, they have a goal of preventing the general public from becoming aware of the general state of reality. That anomalous creatures, phenomena, and items exist, all with abilities that can completely shatter the rules of physics, only unlike the agency, which mainly exists to protect people. The company is out to make a profit, usually at the suffering of innocent people. Occasionally, one of their bases will be found and the agency will then raid them at great risk, collecting very little data and or items because by the time those areas have been breached, they've either been transferred or destroyed. This time was different. Someone or something has raided the company and killed everything to the last person. It left a full archive and just as full storage. The agency was able to secure the site and collect both things before backup from the other company locations arrived or the general public stumbled onto them. So part of the recent report is adding the company's Sigma base archive to our own and catalog the items and bodies recovered from the location. Today's report is more serious than usual because the topic is about the Book of Sorrows. One of the pages has been recovered. For those unaware of what the Book of Sorrows is, it is an artifact of unknown depths that was created around the 18th century in France. The unnamed creator is rumored to be an apprentice of the legendary alchemist Nicolas Flamel. It was a sketchbook of 1,000 pages, with each single-sided page having a drawing. The twist was that every drawing had some unique ability or property, some good, some bad, and some potentially apocalyptic. Rumors of the book's power got out, and in the resulting chaos, the book's binding was destroyed and each of the pages was scattered to all corners of the planet, waiting to re-emerge and for people to take advantage of their powerful abilities. The agency itself has collected over 100 pages since the Book of Sorrows was split apart. It is now obvious that the company has been collecting pages themselves. Today's report is about the page collected from the company's Sigma base. Artifact, page 102, Book of Sorrows. Ability, Omni-Incarnation Awareness. Name, The Monster in the Attic. Finding a page of the Book of Sorrows was a coup. Every page we can get our hands on will only increase the reach of the company's grasp. Those on assignment to locate and acquire these pages know that they have the full might of the company's resources behind them. Page 102 was recovered in India, taken from the corpse of an enlightened yogi. Well, they weren't dead until they refused the offer our acquisitions team generously gave him. Normally, the first option would be just kill the owner of the artifact we want and just take it. But with the Book of Sorrows, precautions have to be taken for multiple reasons. We don't know the ability that the page offers the owner, so killing them may not be possible. There have been cases that the page will move to another location once its owner has passed. And when I say another location, it can be anywhere in the world. That was how page 58 was lost several times. And it bears repeating. The Book of Sorrow is dangerous. We have no clue what each page does until we get our hands on it and run it through various tests. Lucky for us, the owner of page 102 was a pacifist and actually so dumb that he explained to our recovery team what the basic function of the page was. So when offered, he refused to give us the page for a hefty check. With the page's help, he had reached a state of harmony with mind, body and soul. He had no need for earthly material goods. Hearing that, our employee thanked him for his time and shot him in the chest 3 times. He probably could have used an earthly attachment to a bulletproof vest. Searching the place, our employee was able to quickly find the page and following protocol sealed it away in a briefcase, safe, knowing not to look at the page themselves for risk of something happening. For the acquisition team's prompt and speedy recovery, they were awarded bonuses and a special island vacation we give to our top workers. So they were on a trip to a private spa island getting spoilt, and their memories of the item in question erased. Also in protocol when it comes to the Book of Sorrow. As for page 102, it was given to one of our higher-ranked engineers to examine and figure out more of what the page does. The guru we took it from mentioned it showed him the truth of the universe and it brought him serenity. Hard to believe that when a page looks like someone is screaming in agony to be killed. But it didn't take long for our engineer to figure out what the page actually did. Using a volunteer, usually some homeless person or teenage runaway, they were promised a meal and some cash if they would look at the page. And what they saw was a drawing of their faces, face that would scream and produce a physical sound from the page, causing the person looking at the page to scream as well. It goes on for a while in a loop until they are forcibly tranquilized. On waking up, still shackled to the examination table because we weren't taking any chances, the test subject is more rational and they claim they saw their whole life. Every single detail. And then they freaked out because they somehow knew that we were going to kill them at the end of the experiment, no matter the outcome. They weren't wrong, but it's interesting that they came to that conclusion. Further interrogation reveals that when they say their whole life, they mean everything from the moment of conception to birth all the way to their death. In this case, the death was a bullet between the eyes by the engineer. They were even able to describe the gun used to do it. It was a perfect match for the one in the engineer's desk. It even had the decorative smiley emoji sticker that the engineer stuck on the barrel of the gun. So, being curious, the engineer lied to them about the gun having the smiley face decorated, and pulling out his backup piece, showing that they were having a delusion because of the drugs on the page. It served to calm the nervous experiment down, and after offering them the promised meal and writing them a check, they agreed to look at the page again. This time on camera, watching the repeated experiment, was another volunteer off the streets who would transcribe everything that was happening to the first person. So they looked at page 102 again, and once again the page screamed, and like the page, the person looking at it screamed in sync. It wouldn't stop, so they were tranquilized another time. This time, when the person woke up from being drugged, they were able to fully describe another life they lived. A happier life that had them passing away at the age of 96, with all the memories and skills generated from the life lived. Looking up the name they gave us, we were able to discover the person they were sharing the memories of, and the details they gave us after some investigation matched up with the facts we discovered, and that the person had died 30 years ago. It's important to note that the experiment's current age is 29, so the person was made to go look at the page for a third time, staring into the page and being knocked out because they would not stop screaming. The third life had died 131 years ago, and it took longer because records weren't as good, but the details and name was able to be discovered. And from each life, the experiment was able to retain serious skills, such as languages from the second life and an ability to box from the third. Page 102 was forcing memories of their past lives, and if they survived the experience, they would retain the memories and skills that came with living those lives. This has potential. Both people in the experiment, the person looking at the page and the person transcribing, were promptly killed by the engineer, and yes, it was done with a smiley face decorated gun. So the engineer made a report about the strength of page 102, and the corporate executives decided to use the page to enhance the skills of our employees. The engineer was also awarded a trip to a certain vacation island after all his tests were done, and a new system was put in place for using the page in the most efficient way, exporting the page from base to base for a few months at a time, so that every qualified employee can use the page to obtain new skills and further enhance productivity. As of this report, page 102 is currently leased out to Sigma Base.